What's up guys, Hybrid Mongoose here, and welcome to another video about the Saroo for Sega Saturn. And I'm going to save you some time right now. Is the Saroo worth it for the Sega Saturn, even if you have other alternatives? Absolutely yes, but stick around to find out why. One of the biggest problems with the Sega Saturn is load time and memory saves and things like that. In order to get a memory save to the system, you either actually have to have a memory card, which goes in the cartridge slot in the back part of the Sega Saturn, or you have the coin battery that obviously won't last forever but saves to the system. The Saroo fixes a couple problems, which are huge. I could see at the time loading times would be absolutely kind of horrible in certain games with the Sega Saturn. I thought PlayStation 1 was bad. I'll be honest with you. This is the first time I've actually owned a Saturn, and some of those load times are brutal when you're playing with the actual, like the actual physical games. So the Saroo greatly increases that speed. That's one of the things that it solves fantastically. Also, it can act as a RAM card and a memory card at the same exact time, and everything kind of saves to the SD card. Saroo was basically an abandoned project that sat dormant for about 10 years, and it wasn't until recently, I think within the past year or so, that sellers just started selling it on AliExpress, which then prompted the actual creator to start supporting it again and updating it, now seeing all this new attention that it was getting. And it was honestly amazing to see that, as we all need more alternatives, especially for all these retro consoles. Yeah, so now it's even being updated today. If you check out the GitHub on it, you'll see that it's every 1 to 2 months it's getting updates, so it's going to actually get better and better as time goes on. Also, the Saroo basically is unregion locked, so you can play Japanese games, US games, whatever games, and now thanks to the internet and an amazing community of people, there are a ton of Japanese RPGs that have been English patched so you can enjoy them yourselves, as well as shoot 'em ups. There's just a ton of games that where you can play in the language doesn't actually really matter. Like, the fighting game that you're seeing behind me is Marvel vs. X-Men. I think it's Marvel vs. Street Fighter, and it's Japanese, and doesn't bother me any if I don't know what they're saying. Everyone knows it's a fighting game and they know how to play it. The Saroo has some downsides to it. It is not 100% compatible with all the games that are out there. It does have weird glitches at times. I have been playing games and it just froze. There are things like that happen, but luckily it's never froze on a game where I didn't save it. It was like a fighting game or something, and I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I got to play this again. So it's never got me where I was playing like an RPG or something and it just closed out the game. The Saroo is a cartridge that kind of works like an EverDrive, if you know what that is, and it has an SD card slot in it, and you actually plug that into the RAM memory card slot in the back of the Sega Saturn, and from there it actually plays the games and loads them off the SD card. The best part about that as well is it actually saves the memory to that SD card, so you never have to worry about your Sega Saturn running out of battery or having to transfer a save. It's all saved on the Saroo, which is amazing. As you guys can see behind me, this is the Saroo, and this is what you're going to see when you plug it in. I have a Mega Man theme, so it won't look exactly like that. It'll just have a blank black screen, but you can see through. I'm like siphoning, filing through the games, and these are all the games that I have on my SD card, and there are so many good games. And again, like I said, these are unregion locked, so there's so many games that you can play. It's unbelievable. And like I was saying, I didn't originally own a Sega Saturn growing up, so I really slept on a lot of the games. I didn't realize how actually good a Sega Saturn is. And I think where the Sega Saturn really shines is actually the 2D games. You may disagree with me. I think PlayStation does 3D games so much better, and I think where the Sega Saturn really shines is actually the 2D games, all the 2D fighting games. You're talking King of Fighters 95, 96, 97. You're talking Night Stalkers, Marvel vs. Capcom, all these amazing games that are on the console, and they play better than PlayStation. And I know that because I own both. And it just looks better and plays better on the Saturn when it comes to 2D games for me. So the best part about this whole thing is I actually purchased mine from AliExpress, and there's like a ton of listings for AliExpress. And you're gonna be like probably confused on what to pick. I picked mine without an SD card, but you can buy them preloaded with you know, fully legally acquired games if you wanted to from them directly, from the seller directly. But I actually purchased my Saroo from AliExpress, and it was only $50, and then I think it had free shipping. So for $50, I mean, the other alternatives to the Saturn are way more expensive. I think the Fenrir, which is the optical drive, it doesn't actually speed up load times. It's just literally a disc emulation, which plays flawlessly, but it's also quadruple the price. So the Saroo is just, you know, there's no modding. You plug it in and you're ready to go. And the seller was actually nice enough to send me actual like instructions on how to load the SD card, where to get the firmware from, and the Saroo that I got can be upgraded in the future. So as the developer keeps updating it and making it better, I will keep updating it as well. So like I said in the beginning of the video, for the price and for what you get, it's like, even if you had it modded, or let's say you wanted to keep one console completely, like, you know, modless, this is a awesome cheap alternative to actually, you know, get all the games and not actually have to hack or mod your system if you want to keep it like OG or original. So, you know, those are my thoughts on this. This is a huge deal. I mean, like I said, it's not perfect. You're gonna run into bugs sometimes, but the loading times are so fast, and I can only see this getting better in the future. You know, this is just gonna get better and better. So anyway, guys, what are your thoughts on the Saroo? What do you guys think about it? You know, do you think it's worth trying? Because I absolutely do. Leave it down in the comments down below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.